The impossible maneuver. The void of space stretched endlessly through the viewport of the horizon, a mid-sized Earth exploration vessel patrolling the edges of human-claimed territory. Captain Maya Chen sat in the pilot's chair, her fingers dancing across the control panel as she completed the routine systems check. The ship hummed contentedly beneath her touch, responding to the slightest adjustments with perfect precision. Maya wasn't supposed to be here. With 3 formal reprimands for excessive creativity and operational procedures, she should have been reassigned to a desk job or training position long ago. But her results were undeniable. She had the highest success rate in the fleet for navigating the treacherous Arcturus asteroid field and had single-handedly saved a colony ship from a Class 9 solar flare by executing a maneuver that her superiors still couldn't fully explain. "Captain, we're picking up an unusual energy signature," Lieutenant Park announced from the sensor station. "Configuration doesn't match anything in our database." Maya straightened in her chair, dark eyes narrowing as she studied the readout. Distance: approximately 3 million kilometers and closing fast. Whatever it is, it's big. The bridge fell silent as the main display activated, showing a massive vessel unlike anything they had seen before. Its hull gleamed with an iridescent material that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal, defying the laws of conventional engineering. Surrounding it were smaller craft with sharp, angular designs that instantly struck Maya as military escorts. "Open communications, wide-spectrum broadcast," Maya ordered, her voice calm despite the tension building in her chest. This was first contact protocol. Attempt peaceful communication before taking any defensive actions. Broadcasting on all frequencies, Communications Officer Rivera confirmed. No response yet. The alien fleet continued its approach, silent and imposing. Maya's instincts screamed danger, a sensation she had learned to trust during her 10 years in Earth fleet. "Shields up. Prepare defensive systems," she commanded. "Captain," Rivera interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission. Audio only." A harsh, mechanical voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel, you have been detected in Varzian territory. The Collective has designated your species as a potential threat to galactic stability. Stand down and prepare for inspection." Maya's eyes darted to the navigation display. According to all Earth charts, they were well within the neutral zone established during preliminary communications with other spacefaring races. "This is Captain Maya Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We are in neutral space according to agreed boundaries. We mean no harm and welcome peaceful dialogue." The response came immediately. "Your primitive species lacks understanding of proper spatial designations. The Varzian Collective has claimed this sector for 12,000 cycles. Comply or be neutralized." Before Maya could respond, Lieutenant Park shouted. Energy surged from the escort vessels. "They're charging weapons." Time seemed to slow as Maya processed their options. The Horizon was an exploration vessel with minimal defensive capabilities, designed for scientific missions, not combat. They couldn't outrun the alien ships, and their shields wouldn't withstand a concentrated attack. Conventional wisdom dictated an immediate surrender to preserve the crew's lives. But something about the situation felt wrong to Maya. The aliens had positioned themselves in a classic pincer formation, leaving no escape route. This wasn't an inspection, it was an ambush. "All power to engines," Maya ordered, hands already moving across the controls. "Divert life support reserve energy to the shield generators." "Captain," Executive Officer Ramirez questioned, voice tight with concern. "They're going to attack regardless of what we do," Maya explained, not looking up from her controls. "But they're expecting standard evasive maneuvers, the kind taught in every fleet academy across known space." The first energy blast from the Varzian ship streaked across space, grazing the Horizon's shields and causing the entire vessel to shudder. "So we're going to do something no one expects," Maya finished, a determined smile crossing her face. What happened next would later be analyzed by thousands of military strategists across dozens of civilizations. Instead of fleeing or attempting to return fire, Maya executed a sequence of thruster combinations that sent the Horizon into a controlled tumble while maintaining its forward momentum. The ship's artificial gravity struggled to compensate as they spun through three-dimensional space in a pattern that defied all standard combat algorithms. The Vargian vessels, programmed to predict movement based on 12 millennia of space combat experience, fired at where the Horizon should have been, but Maya's unorthodox approach left them shooting at empty space. Using the momentum of their spiral, Maya activated the Horizon's experimental gravity wave emitter, a scientific instrument never intended for defensive purposes. The wave disrupted the targeting systems of the nearest Vargian ship, causing its next shot to hit one of its own fleet members. Reroute power from non-essential systems to the engines, Maya commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. Prepare for light-speed jump. The drive isn't fully charged, Park protested. We don't need a full charge for what I'm planning, Maya replied, fingers flying across the controls. As the Vargian ships regrouped for another attack, Maya took the Horizon into a tight loop around the damaged alien vessel, using its mass as a partial shield. Then, with perfect timing, she activated the jump drive at only 40% capacity, enough to create a localized distortion in spacetime without actually entering light speed. The distortion pulled at the damaged Vargian ship, dragging it off course and into the path of two others. In the resulting confusion, Maya pushed the Horizon's conventional engines beyond safety parameters, slipping past the alien blockade and toward Earth space. Jump drive ready for full activation, Lieutenant Park announced, voice tinged with disbelief at what they had just accomplished. Take us home, Maya ordered, allowing herself to relax slightly as the stars stretched around them, and the Horizon escaped into light speed. What Maya couldn't know was that the entire encounter had been recorded by the Vargian ships and was already being transmitted across the Galactic communication network. A human pilot had just rewritten the rules of space combat, using intuition and improvisation to overcome technology thousands of years more advanced. By the time the Horizon reached Earth Space Command, Maya's impossible maneuver had been viewed by military leaders of 17 different species. Admiral Jackson was waiting when she docked, his weathered face unreadable as Maya and her crew disembarked. Captain Chen, he greeted her, not offering a handshake. Your report on the encounter with the alien vessels was enlightening. Maya stood at attention. Sir, I acted to protect my ship and crew. The aliens identified themselves as the Vargian Collective and clearly intended to. I'm well aware of what they intended, Jackson interrupted. What I'm more interested in is how an exploration vessel with minimal defensive capabilities managed to outmaneuver a combat fleet with technology centuries beyond our own. Maya hesitated. Intuition, sir. They were expecting standard tactical responses. I gave them something unpredictable. Jackson's expression remained stern, but a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth betrayed something else. Pride, perhaps, or amusement. Well, your intuition has caused quite the stir. The footage from the Vargian ships has spread across every communication channel in charted space. The Galactic Council is in emergency session, and we've received formal protests from 12 different civilizations. Maya's heart sank. Sir, You've also received commendations from the Talari Federation and the Proxima colonies, Jackson continued, and requests from 6 different military academies for detailed explanations of your maneuver. He finally allowed a small smile. It seems humans have made quite an impression. As Maya followed Admiral Jackson to the debriefing room, neither of them fully grasped how profoundly her actions would change the course of interstellar relations. The Vargian Collective, unchallenged for millennia, had encountered something they couldn't predict or control: human ingenuity. The paradigm shift had begun. The paradigm shift? Absolutely not. Admiral Jackson slammed his fist on the conference table, causing holographic displays to flicker momentarily. We will not apologize for defending ourselves against unprovoked aggression. The Earth Council representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats as the Vargian ambassador's hologram towered over them, its luminescent skin pulsing with barely contained anger. The human vessel violated sovereign Vargian space, the ambassador insisted, multifaceted eyes fixed on Maya, who sat silently at the end of the table. More concerning is the utilization of prohibited combat techniques. The manipulations of space-time exhibited by Captain Chen are strictly forbidden under Galactic Concordat regulations. Maya couldn't remain silent any longer. With respect, Ambassador, those prohibited techniques were achieved using standard equipment on an exploration vessel. We didn't violate any regulations because we don't have access to the technology your regulations were designed to control. This statement caused a ripple of murmurs around the Earth Council table. The implications were clear. Humans had achieved through creativity what other species required advanced technology to accomplish. This is precisely our concern, the Vargian continued. Your species represents an unknown variable. You achieved results that should be impossible at your development stage. Admiral Jackson leaned forward. Perhaps your assumptions about development stages need revision. The meeting ended without resolution, but as Maya left the council chambers, she was intercepted by Dr. Eliza Warren, Earth's foremost synapsychologist. They're afraid of you, Warren stated matter-of-factly, falling into step beside Maya. The Vargians. They have technology thousands of years beyond ours. What could they possibly fear from us? Warren's eyes gleamed with academic interest. Unpredictability. From what we've gathered, the Vargian collective and most other advanced civilizations evolved along highly structured, logical progression paths. Their technological development followed predictable patterns over millennia. And humans didn't. Humans, Warren said with a slight smile, are chaotic innovators. We make intuitive leaps. We find unexpected applications for existing technology. We break rules without understanding why they existed in the first place. She paused. Your maneuver demonstrated that perfectly. 3 days later, Maya was summoned back to Earth Command. The situation had deteriorated rapidly. Reports indicated that Vargian vessels had been detected near 3 human colony worlds, and communication with the outpost on Europa Prime had suddenly ceased. Admiral Jackson looked like he hadn't slept in days. They're making a preemptive move, he explained, showing Maya tactical displays of Vargian fleet movements. Your little demonstration convinced their High Council that humans represent an existential threat that must be contained before we advance further. Maya studied the displays, her mind already calculating possibilities. Our conventional defenses won't hold against a coordinated Vargian assault. No, Jackson agreed grimly, which is why I've been authorized to implement Operation Wildcard. He fixed Maya with an intense stare. We're assembling a special response fleet, smaller, faster ships with crews selected for creative problem-solving and unconventional thinking. And you, Captain Chen, will train them in your methodology. Maya blinked in surprise. Sir, what I did was instinctive. I'm not sure I can teach. You won't be teaching specific maneuvers, Jackson interrupted. You'll be teaching them to think beyond established tactical doctrines, to see possibilities where others see only limitations. Over the next 2 weeks, Maya worked with a hand-picked group of pilots from across Earth Fleet. They were an eclectic mix. Some, like her, had reprimands for unorthodox approaches. Others were theoretical physicists with minimal flight experience but brilliant minds. A few were former civilian pilots who had never been constrained by military doctrine. Forget everything you've been taught about space combat, Maya told them during their first session. The Vargians have been fighting the same way for thousands of years because it's always worked. Their tactics are perfect, against enemies who play by the same rules. Lieutenant Koshiro, formerly an origami artist before joining Earth Fleet, raised his hand. So we're not going to play by the rules. Maya smiled. We're going to play a different game entirely. While Maya trained her unconventional fleet, the Vargian advance continued. 2 outer colonies had been blockaded, though no direct attacks had occurred. It appeared the Varjans were still hesitant to engage in open warfare, perhaps fearing further unpredictable responses. This changed when a Varjan battle group appeared in orbit around Earth's largest colony world, New Terra. Their ultimatum was simple. Humanity would accept restrictions on its expansion, submit to Varjan oversight of all technological development, and integrate into the collective's hierarchical structure, or face immediate military action. The Earth Council deliberated for less than an hour before issuing their response. Humanity will not surrender its autonomy or potential. We remain open to peaceful cooperation as equals, but will defend our independence with all available means. Maya's fleet, now dubbed the Wildcard Division, deployed immediately. 12 ships against a Varjan force of over 50 vessels. By conventional metrics, it was suicide. "Remember your training," Maya transmitted to her pilots as they approached the Varjan formation. "They're expecting us to either surrender or make a desperate frontal assault. We're going to do neither." What followed would later be described by a Tal'Ari observer as controlled chaos. Maya's fleet split into pairs, each executing maneuvers that appeared random but were actually carefully coordinated. They utilized the gravity wells of New Terra's moons, the radiation bursts from the system's star, and even the wake distortions of the Varjan ships themselves to create conditions that confounded the aliens' targeting systems. Lieutenant Kushiro's ship, aptly named Origami, demonstrated how a smaller vessel could fold its energy signature through rapidly oscillating shield frequencies, creating the illusion of multiple ships appearing and disappearing across the battlefield. The Varjans, attempting to track these phantom signatures, ended up firing on empty space. Dr. Rodriguez, a theoretical physicist turned emergency pilot, applied her knowledge of quantum uncertainty principles to navigate her ship through spaces the Varzian tracking systems registered as solid matter, emerging behind enemy vessels to disable their propulsion systems with surgical precision. Maya herself led the most daring element of their strategy, a direct approach toward the Varzian command ship that suddenly transformed into a spiraling pattern that created harmonic resonances with the alien vessel's shield frequencies. The technique, impossible according to conventional physics, caused localized shield failures that allowed Maya's weapons to target the ship's communication array. Within 2 hours, the Varjan fleet was in disarray, not destroyed, but disorganized and unable to execute their carefully planned attack protocols. 3 human ships had been lost, but the colony was safe, and the majority of the Varjan force was retreating. As Maya's ship maintained position near the disabled Varjan command vessel, her communications officer reported an incoming transmission, not from the Varjans, but from an unknown source. "Captain Chen." A melodic voice addressed her as a holographic figure materialized on the bridge, tall, ethereal, with features suggesting an aquatic evolutionary path. "I am Observer Talana of the Galactic Council. What we have witnessed today is unprecedented." Maya remained cautious. "The Varjans left us no choice but to defend ourselves." "Indeed," Talana agreed, head tilting in what might have been appreciation. "But it is not merely your victory that interests us. It is how you achieved it." The observer's large, luminous eyes studied Maya intently. "The Varjan collective has dominated council politics for 3,000 years due to their military superiority. No species has successfully challenged their combat doctrine since the Ascension Wars." "We didn't set out to challenge anyone," Maya responded. "We just wanted to survive. And in doing so, you have changed everything," Talana stated. "The Council has been monitoring this conflict with great interest. Many members have long chafed under Varzian influence, but lacked the means to oppose them. Your species has demonstrated that technological superiority can be offset by, what do you call it? Thinking outside the conventional parameters." "Thinking outside the box," Maya corrected with a small smile. "An apt metaphor," Talana nodded. "The Council formally requests Earth's presence at an emergency session. We believe your perspective would be valuable in the discussions to come." After the transmission ended, Admiral Jackson contacted Maya with new orders. She would lead a diplomatic delegation to the Galactic Council, representing humanity in what promised to be a fundamental restructuring of interstellar relations. As Maya prepared for this new mission, she reflected on how quickly everything had changed. Humans, considered primitive by many advanced civilizations, had demonstrated that innovation and adaptability could overcome even millennia of technological development. The Varjans didn't understand what they were facing, Dr. Warren told her as they boarded the diplomatic vessel. They classified us as a Type 0.7 civilization, based on our technology, but they had no metric for measuring human creativity and ingenuity. And now? Maya asked. Warren smiled. Now they're scrambling to develop one, and finding that some qualities can't be quantified or predicted. 3 months later, the newly formed Galactic Alliance replaced the Varjan-dominated council structure. Humanity was granted full membership, with Maya serving as Earth's first representative. The Varjans, while still influential, now found themselves balanced by a coalition of species who had found their voice. The term human factor entered the lexicon of a dozen civilizations, referring to the unpredictable element that could transform seemingly impossible situations. Across the galaxy, military academies and scientific institutions began studying human approaches to problem-solving, finding value in what they had previously dismissed as primitive thinking. And it had all begun with a single human pilot who chose to ignore the established rules of space combat. Not because she wanted to change the galaxy, but simply because she needed to protect her ship and crew. Sometimes, the greatest paradigm shifts start with the smallest decisions. As Maya stood in the great chamber of the Alliance headquarters, watching representatives of ancient civilizations debating new possibilities and approaches, she felt both pride and humility. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through raw power or advanced technology, but through its most fundamental quality: the ability to imagine beyond limitations. The stars had never seemed more full of possibility.